All right, we are live on the air for the last, for the last meeting to discuss the previous season, season 1, because I still hopefully will be enough people interested in doing a little dissection and discussion of the new season starting this next week. Tonight we are discussing Wentworth and To Ransom Man's Soul. So we'll get through them as quickly as possible and as painlessly as possible, but there's pain, so,
Yeah.
deal with it. Put on your big girl panties. And
time to process it.
let's go through it. It's, we've read it. Those of us who've read it, I think all of us have read it.
Yeah, we've all
We've
read.
watched it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and people survive and move through it.
More books to come.
Exactly.
More story. Lots more story. Actually, to be honest, I went back and reread it after I watched it. Because
Really?
to me, I feel in some ways it's weak, but in some ways. I mean, I think
The story is weak?
on the way they filmed it, I felt was actually weak. I think that they cut themselves, but we'll get there. I think
Okay.
I know to watch it is hard, but I think that there's so much more in the book.
Well, and maybe it's the fact that it's told in a flashback and being told to Claire.
Right.
And so it's not like we're experiencing it on the same visceral level.
Right. But that's what they did here too. Because it is just Jamie recalling it all, what he's at the monastery. I don't know. I guess seeing it in words was a little more powerful, I thought. I mean, I shouldn't say that because visually it's pretty impressive, but
Yeah. Well, anyway, we start out with Wentworth, and we start out with the whole scene in the court, in the whatever they call that muster yard where they're hanging guys.
Right.
And we've got Jamie and Macquarie waiting their turn, and kind of the end of Macquarie here. I'm one of those people who actually liked Macquarie.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, we're not hearing you. Your sound is off, hon. Well, I still got nothing. You may have to go out and come back in. Or put on a headset. I know somebody had to put on a headset. Oh, I'm hearing stuff now as far as stuff rattling. Oops.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Yeah.
Nothing?
No, I hear you.
You hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I've been having trouble. I think I have to bring this phone back because my buzzer kind of went bzzz and disappeared, and so I think I need to bring this one back. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever had it. It's just a little thing, so I don't know if this is just something with that or not. So I've got the headphone in now, and you can hear me, so that's good.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was just saying that I actually liked Macquarie as a character.
I did too.
Even though he's a complete, new fabrication from the screen from the writers.
Yeah.
I actually like him, and I actually didn't mind this incarnation of the Watch from. Well, we had a big discussion about the Search. I'm not a fan of the Search at all, but I did like the episode of the Watch, and I liked Macquarie in that incarnation there. So, but we're past that. So anyway, seeing him and Jamie, that discussion, and then his end, that whole speech about hating the fact that his last sight was going to be these, what was it, mealy-mouthed, pasty-faced English, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I listened to somebody's commentary on the episode, and they talked about the realism as far as hearing, people being hung and the neck cracking and just the whole production value of this particular episode. And maybe that's why so many people had so many different problems with it.
Right.
Is because the production value is high enough that it feels real enough to them to make them extremely, extremely uncomfortable and horrified.
Yes, I agree. And it's also not really being presented as a fantasy. it's not like fantasy violence, because I mean I don't really watch Game of Thrones, but I look at that as a total fantasy thing. It's like watching Lord of the Rings or something to me. I'm not up on it. I've watched it, but this is more because it feels historical. I mean, despite the time travel bit of it, you know.
Yeah, well, they got the time travel thing out of the way early in the first half of the season, and then out of the way early, well, not early, but they got it out of the way and tucked it away nicely in The Devil's Mark, and we've just kind of forgotten about it.
Right, right.
You know, it's not pertinent to the story at this point.
No.
It will become more pertinent as we move on, but right now we've kind of tucked away that whole, even, you know, fantasy thread of this story.
Yeah, this really feels real, I think, more than...
Definitely more of a historical fiction than fantasy fiction or anything like that. Yeah. So, yeah, and I mean, we get that whole thing, Jamie being brought up to the top of the thing and being there with the noose around his neck, and then, you know, Prince Charming riding in saying, "Stop the execution."
The savior comes in, yes.
I was just kind of like, I think I rolled my eyes so hard they about stuck in the back of my head the first time I saw it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is the way this is happening? So, anyway, I mean, but I did, you know, the whole looks exchange between the two of them, there's so much being said with just the looks and no words between the two of them. I know when I watched it the first time, I was like, you know, I think Jamie's that close from jumping off the edge of that thing, that platform.
Strangling himself.
Rather than leaving himself at the mercy of Blackjack.
Right.
So, I mean, he's going to be pulled off, and then we cut right to... We cut to Claire and Murtaugh in Sir Fletcher's office.
Well, where's the little scene where Jamie's... I mean, it shows him in the dungeon and Blackjack comes in and then leaves, or was that after?
I think that's after we see Claire talking to Sir Fletcher.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
About, you know.
Remember.
Yeah, maybe it is just her in the office.
Because they don't take him immediately. We don't see him immediately go from being rescued by Blackjack to being in the dungeon. I think we cut to Claire.
Claire trying
to figure out where he is, see if she's going to be able to see him and let him know that they're working to try and get him out. And
maybe
because that's a great scene. I think it's one of the first scenes I saw with Katrina that I think I had this huge... I felt that whole almost breakdown that she had. You know, when what's his name kind of stepped away and she realized he was still alive, and Claire kind of had that where she just kind of almost lost it and broke down while she's sitting there in the office. Murtaugh was not there.
No,
it was just her and Sir Fletcher.
And Sir Fletcher, yeah.
And he brings the box back. He said, I can't let you see him, but how about this? And he brings the box of effects back, and we see the little snake and all that kind of stuff, and see her, you know, walking out and then out the front doors, and her basically, she did break when she got outside, where she was, you know, throwing up and almost sobbing.
The throwing up had a lot to do with being pregnant, too, I think.
Yeah, that's what I took up from it when I saw it again.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it had a lot to do with her being pregnant. After I watched, because there was a couple times there where she puked, you know, and I mean, stress, yes, but I think the hormones brought on by being pregnant, too, caused that to happen. I think that was like just a little hint that was happening at that point. You know, if you read into it a little bit more.
When you're trying to figure out when she actually got pregnant, because they've compressed this timeline so much, that in the series, she almost would have had to have gotten pregnant almost immediately when they got to Lollybrook.
Yep.
And even then, we're talking, usually those symptoms don't start showing up for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
The puking and the hormones.
Yeah, that's true. Or she was pregnant before and just didn't know.
Well, I was just trying to figure out how far back you'd have to go. Because she would have had to have gotten pregnant at Leoc.
Yeah, just before Jamie left Leok.
Yeah, before he went off with got sent off with Dougal.
On the timeline on the show, yeah.
On the show, yeah. Yeah, because the timeline is totally different from the book.
Yeah.
They had enough sex then to go ahead and warrant that.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's. I mean,
yeah, they had some pretty intense makeup sex and.
Yeah, it only takes 7 minutes, you know. That's it. It just to hit it at the right time, shooting blank.
Yeah. So anyway, we've got her there, and we've got Murtaugh coming in and carrying her off, and then I think we cut to
him in the
Jamie
cell.
in the cell with the two guards coming in and saying, I have something about you've got a benefactor, or it must be nice to know someone, or whatever, because they bring in
with the
food and water to clean up.
Didn't they say something about courtesy of Captain Randall?
Captain Randall, yeah. So, eat your fill and clean up, wash up, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So... And then I think we cut back, because we don't see... Randall doesn't come in at this point. Randall doesn't come in until later, after he's eaten, and he's trying to get himself out of the chains.
Right.
The second time we see him trying to get himself out of the chains.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we cut back to the inn, where Rupert and Angus are...
Right.
I love those two. I love those two.
Off gambling, throwing dice, and then we see Willie, who's I love Willie. I absolutely adore Willie.
Yeah, he's cutie pie.
And Murtaugh and Claire sitting there, and them, haranguing, and Claire looking defeated. I mean, she almost looks defeated because she's like, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. But I absolutely loved Rupert and Angus coming over totally drunk, totally proud of themselves.
Lost all their money,
but having done it for a good cause, and having actually learned something that turns out to be of help. And, those two, it was kind of this little break, little comic break, especially for those of us who know what's coming.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a lightening up of the atmosphere so that we can kind of take a breath before we get into, the even darker stuff.
Right.
So because then we cut back when they say, yes, this is, it's enough that we can maybe formulate a plan, because I think we cut back to Randall and Jamie and the first kind of confrontation between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, they close up the whole pardon and letter being put before that court, letter of complaint, and, the fact that Sandringham had been drunk and talking, and Blackjack ended up with that whole complaint, and him burning it in front of Jamie.
Right.
So we
Where was the copy machine when you needed one?
No kidding.
Really?
Carbon paper. How about a mimeograph? Something.
Remember the smell of the mimeograph?
Oh.
The smell and that purple ink would get everywhere. And
God, from school, yeah.
Yeah, and then the turning the crank and getting the sheets, yep. Yeah. So we get that, and hello. Well, and my sister's just sticking her head out.
Oh, she's out here talking to yourself.
I'm eating carrots. It's not super cold. I'm okay. You're a wimp, but all right. I'll eat afterwards. So yeah, we tied up that little knot for that plot line that I never really liked. I always thought was weird and awkward and clunky.
Mm.
And you knew it was never going to work. You know it was never going to work.
Yeah.
So Jerry, you still there? All I've got is your icon.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There she is.
And then I can't remember if we actually get the point where Jamie turns down Blackjack. She's definitely a mother, isn't she?
That's good. Oh.
Thank you.
Your warm weather disappeared real fast.
I can't remember if this is where Jamie actually says, I decline the offer because Blackjack offers to, kill him quickly rather than suffer the indignity of hanging. And
oh yeah, he could give him his choice.
Of a death, of a quick death, a more honorable death. Yeah. So I can't remember if this is the scene where he actually says, I decline your offer, but because then I know we cut back to Claire and Murtaugh this time.
Right.
Talking to, I'm assuming it's Sir Fletcher's assistant or,
some underling there, yeah.
Yeah. Them waiting in the office because they know he's off to dinner for the hour or hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is, he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And Murtaugh in that scene, I love Murtaugh in that scene. Every time the underling looks at him, he's got this totally vacant idiot look on his face. But then as soon as he turns away, he's got the brows lower, and he's glaring like, I'm going to stab you right in the back. And then, that's where Claire offers to ask the guy if he wants to wait with him, and he's like, you're trying to get me in trouble. Of course I'm not going to wait with you. I have duties.
Right.
So, and we do get Claire, somebody mentioned this is kind of where we finally completely know that they've done away with the whole concept of Claire having this glass face where she can't lie.
Right.
Because she is absolutely duplicitous in talking to this guy at this point and having no trouble having him believe her.
Right.
So I missed that a little bit, but it was never really introduced in the series, so it's not a huge change for the people who are watching just the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I tell you, every time I watch it, I miss where the keys come from.
Yeah, I don't know
in this scene because I don't know. They just suddenly, it's like you hear them clunk.
Appear, yeah.
I'm not, and I never catch where they come from. If she accidentally pulls them out when she's looking through all this stuff because they're looking for a key, for keys or a map, and I'm thinking to myself, a map?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't have a map.
They wouldn't have a
prison.
Map.
He knows the prison. This is not
I could see that they would, because what if they change commissioners or whatever that character Fletcher is? Maybe somebody else comes in.
He's never going to go down to the cells. That guy doesn't go down to the cells. He sits in his office.
But how do you know where things are if you don't have a map? I
have underlings.
Even maps, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't buy the whole map thing of the building.
I don't think that whatever they call him, I don't think he would have had
it. That's a 20th century thing.
Okay, you guys are right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, but then Claire's thinking like a 20th century woman.
Yeah, because you're looking for that map that says, "Boink, you are here."
Yeah, X marks the spot. You're here. And the cells with the bad guys are here, and the cells with the guys who are about to be hung are here.
And the cells for the guys that are better than the bad guys are down here. No. And the latrine is over here, and then there's the hole where they drop the dead people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that this guy would ever have had any real working knowledge of where things were inside that prison. That's what he has underlings for.
Yeah.
He's there as the figurehead representative of the whole thing, and
goes to his office.
It's the peons who are doing all of the actual work.
Yeah, because as religious as he seemed to be, good Christian man.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be able to go downstairs and see the conditions these people were in and actually remain a Christian man.
Well, that whole good Christian man, there's an awful lot of hypocrisy in people who call themselves good Christians,
Well, yeah,
all the stuff it's based on is that for back then.
So yeah, it's like I'm like whatever. But
I just sit there and I watch all these things. I love historical fiction. I love all that kind of stuff. I love watching the movies. But the one thing that hits me as being a modern woman is, oh my God, I would have never been able to stand the smell.
Oh yeah.
That's
although it's one of those things you do get used to. I mean, working in a hospital where you have an awful lot of smell in certain areas, that you do end up not noticing it after a while. You know, it sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes it takes every shift you get used to it again.
Yeah.
But if you're totally immersed in it all the time, you end up, you know, with it just becoming part of the...
body funk is not something that...
Yeah.
Because I sit there and I laugh because I see when Blackjack takes him and he takes the water and drizzles a little over his forehead, I'm like, honey, that's not going to clean him up. You need a scrub brush and some lye soap. You know, and just get down there and get funky all over him. You know, because it's like, that little drip, that's going to do a lot of good there.
Yeah, I think that was more symbolic anyway.
I think that whole Christ symbolism that goes on in that episode is just, there's an awful lot of obvious slap you in the face Christ symbolism there.
In fact, he actually says it. So.
Yeah, you know, like Christ on the cross. So I'm like, But and then I'm not sure.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm not sure I buy Claire running around down in the cells without running into anybody.
Yeah, that's especially if all the other guys, you know, there's all those men in those cells, and the little tiny whispers they give. If they see a woman in down there, they're going to be making a lot of noise.
Yeah, one would think. So I did miss the fact from the book. I mean, in the book, she let those guys out.
Yeah.
Right.
She opened the cells.
True.
Because it caused
distraction
and confusion.
Plus, he was also way deeper, because doesn't she end up down in some area that isn't even used?
And again, in the book, Jamie had been kept in one of those common cells.
Right.
And had been pulled out of one of the common cells.
And taken way downstairs.
And they had said, and the person, one of the people he was with, said something about being a higher level prisoner. Or something. I can't remember what it was. That they're kept someplace else, so check down low, you know, a level below us, or whatever it was. But she does, you know, run around there and just, oh, look at this, a back door.
Yeah.
Good thing. They're going to leave it open. You know?
Well, I'm just kind of like, a back door? I mean, I know that
part of the story too, though.
Yeah, I always had issues with that, you know. You're wandering around downstairs in the dark.
Yeah.
Because there's no windows down there.
Right.
So you're stumbling around in the dark, and you just happen to find a door that you just happen to be able to leave open that nobody notices is open.
Yeah. That leads directly outside.
Outside.
Outside. To the hidden part of the prison, so nobody will see you escape out the back door.
Yeah. Again, it's
a little contrived,
Yeah, it's literary license because you got to figure out some way to get people in and out.
Right.
How the hell did they get all those cows in there? I mean,
well, that's how they do it.
How did they herd that? Well, I mean, even getting anywhere, I know, but getting anywhere near there, how is there not anybody that saw them getting those cows into the prison? That's what I'm wondering. You mean coming through a doorway and trying to get getting into a prison?
Well, again, I think to me, I'm thinking they're supposed to have gone in that back door.
Yeah, but still, that back door was not that big a back door. I mean, that's a lot of cattle that they got in there.
Yeah, but I mean, I know somehow they also end up out in the yard. Do they in the show? Or am I thinking about the book?
Yeah, in the show they were in the yard too. Yeah, they were in the yard too.
Right. So somehow they get from
trying to shoo them out.
Yeah, again, we're in the next episode. I mean, we're talking about the next episode, but
yeah, I know.
Because we still have to get through the whole, you know, Claire finding Jamie and trying to get him loose to take him out, and then Blackjack walking in, and then we get the whole, you know, Marley.
Yeah.
Oh God, he was gross.
But you know what? He was described worse in the book.
Yes.
you know, the stubs, the pus oozing stubs of teeth, and because that's one of those things that I almost went reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get that whole scene in there where, I mean, Jack tests Jamie's resolve, and that's when he smashes his hand the first time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
wait a minute. He smashes his hand before Claire, doesn't he?
Yes. He's already got the hand smashed. Yeah.
He's already got the hand smashed before Claire shows up in there.
Oh, we don't see that?
Yeah, we do. We see him smash the hand when when Blackjack first goes into the room with Murtaugh, and not Murtaugh. What's his face?
Marlon.
When we were just talking about with pussy teeth. Yeah, and when he first goes in the room, and then I guess it's when there's that altercation or something. What happens there? But he smashes his hand first before Claire gets there, because the hand is smashed when Claire gets there.
Okay.
Yep, and then when Claire gets there, that's when Blackjack takes the hammer and goes against her head, and that's when he submits.
Yeah.
So, and then he turns around, and at that point says he wants to test his honesty. At that point, he drives the nail through the broken hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which, you know,
does happen before Claire gets there.
From that, the whole nail through the hand for me is the beginning of the whole Christ imagery.
Right.
That just absolutely.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with the word. Well, I got to get my brain back together before I start school this summer. It's sad.
Oh.
You'll find it.
So anyway, I mean, we get this scene between Sam and Kat. I mean, I'm not a big crier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was feeling her as she was being torn away from him.
Yeah.
This was well done. This acting was
very well done
for this.
It still surprises me that no one got an Emmy or anything for that. You know, I mean,
people were talking about it and raving about it, and I'm like, it is a freshman series. It's the freshman year of a brand new series. They almost never get any kind of recognition. I mean, look how long it took for Orange is the New Black.
It's a shame.
To get any kind of,
and I don't like that program.
Well, I don't watch it, but
I can't get into it. I just can't
but on the other side, if we're going to go out there, on the other side, that Amazon series, Mozart in the Jungle.
Mozart in the Jungle, I know.
Yep.
Oh, good, but I was surprised that it got, because to me it's not nothing special. Not like
what's its face?
The guy from iRobot.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jeffrey Tambor.
Tambor, yeah. Well, Transparent.
Oh, Transparent.
Transparent. Yeah. That got tons of nods too.
That's a couple of years old, isn't it?
Yeah, what's on?
The first year. Yeah, but the first year
that was your first
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, for some reason I feel like they're really doing their best to acknowledge the new unconventional forms of episodic television.
Yeah.
Right.
They're trying. I almost feel like the Academy is trying to make sure that Amazon and Hulu and Netflix, all these things that are doing original programming,
right,
keep doing it, because it is a way to make sure that there is
House of Cards.
Yeah, good quality work out there for actors.
Yeah.
Because that's where all of the really good cutting edge stuff is these days.
Yeah.
So.
The landscape is changing.
Yeah. The Starz has been the redhead stepchild of the pay-per-view, or the whatever you call it. So it's taken. I'm not sure there's anything that's gotten nominated off of Starz, is there?
I don't think so. Not recently, anyway.
And how long did it take before Shameless got any kind of acknowledgement?
I don't know.
Let's not get started on that. Did you watch yesterday's Shameless?
I have not been watching it this season. I'm going to go back and watch all of it at once. I'm going to buy this season and watch it all at once.
Yeah.
So.
Get so mad. Between that and The Walking Dead last night, I about had The Walking Dead killed me last night.
Yeah, I don't watch Walking Dead, but I had a feeling all my timeline was going nutso. So I'm like, ooh.
I liked it, but I was spoiled, so I wasn't expecting anything else.
Yeah, I was like, you had to leave it like that. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. We were having a big thing tonight. Oh my God, we were talking about it tonight. And Jody says, I've come to the decision that we're pretty damaged because we like characters like that.
They're so brutal, yeah.
I knew I was beyond repair when I liked Ralph Fiennes' character in Schindler's List, I thought he was sexy. It's like, okay, this is a bad guy. He's killing tons of Jewish people. Why do I think he's sexy?
Yeah.
So it was bad. No. So anyhow.
So well, and I just like I said, no, I'm just thinking that Sam did some amazing work.
Right.
In this, and because I was listening to somebody else's commentary on this particular episode, and they were talking about the amount of work he did playing off Tobias, but with so much less to do.
Yeah.
But many fewer lines and almost no actual action.
Right, but the total look of terror in his face and horror about what in the heck is going on, or what's going to happen and how bad is this going to get. And, yeah, he did some good acting.
I mean, it was...
For not having any real lines. He was all physical.
Yeah, well, and like I said, so much was played in his face and the way he reacted to, because acting is mostly listening and reacting.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's what he was doing, but he did a great job, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's... Between the two of them, I mean, Tobias had the scene chewing, scenery chewing stuff to do. The big, huge...
Chunks.
Yeah.
Chunks of scenery. Yeah.
But yeah, and then you've got Sam with his much quieter, more still...
Yeah.
More internal, because it was almost all internal.
Right. He's trying to hold up a good. Jamie's trying to, hold face. He doesn't want to break.
He didn't want to. Yeah, he didn't want to.
He doesn't want to break.
See him to have the best of him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I can go another season. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying the last we see of the two of them isn't the last thing we see of the two of them is that tear.
Yeah.
Down Jamie's cheek as Blackjack is looking at his back and calling it a masterpiece and saying, "Shall we begin?"
Right.
Because then we get the terrible characterization of McCranach.
Right.
He's
just like a random character that pops up.
Yeah, I loved him in the book. He was wonderful in the book, but I was actually very glad when he dropped Claire through. When Randall dropped Claire through that trap door down into the bodies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just before that, she had told him, kind of did that little cursing him with the foreknowledge of what's to come, and obviously the way she told it was believable enough that he did believe it, because he definitely had that look on his face, that almost look of terror and horror.
Right. How would she know? How would she know where he was born? I mean, date and location of birth, and then yeah.
So
it gave credence to her foretelling his death.
Well, and that if you go back to it, there was that whole thing in the Garrison Commander where they talked about knowing when someone is telling you the truth, that the truth has a weight to it. And he talked about having been truthful to her because she's sitting there with tears streaming down her face after he's told her all about whipping Jamie the first time. And so we kind of come back full circle of that. The truth that she was telling him had this big weight to it, so he could feel it, in his bones.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, dropping her through that trap door.
Yeah.
And then literally I was just listening, I guess it's in the next episode, but her landing in that pile of, you know, bodies and
yeah.
yeah, which was just kind of like, ew. But I'm never sure why they drugged them from the yard
Up through the cat.
down the stairs, down into the bowels of that prison to drop them through the trapdoors.
Right.
Wouldn't it have been easier to just throw them on the back of a wagon and haul them out?
Well.
Yeah, unless what happened, maybe there was a fallout there. Maybe they took the wagon full of them and dumped them.
Yeah, maybe they rolled down.
It was like a common thing where they drug prisoners. Yeah, and maybe they dump them out of the wagon, and maybe when prisoners died, they dumped them through that hole, so all the dead bodies just like are in
I know it was meant to show the horror of seeing dead Mr. McQuarrie, but yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. I mean, she's, you know, we're supposed to feel this, you know, the same kind of terror that she feels, and I'm thinking, how the hell did McQuarrie get down there? Did they drag him back through the prison to drop him down the trapdoor?
Oh, and there's also like skeletons and everything else.
Yeah.
Where you're like, why would they leave all that rotting right outside the? I mean, especially in like where you have to open that door, and the door stays open. So now there's all these rotting bodies down there. It was strange. I mean, I know it's for effect, but it's not. That isn't realistic at all.
Yeah. Well, and again, in the book, he kicked her out a door. He didn't drop her down a trap door.
And he also dropped her into wherever their refuge pit was, and it was winter, so all that stuff would have been frozen.
Yeah.
And that they did describe it that way. So clearly it's there until they can dig holes to bury bodies and stuff.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, but I was actually grateful that we didn't get the whole wolf encounter from the book. I was just kind of, because I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, that's going to take so long to get through that.
Stuff.
And then, you know, like I said, they brought in McCranach, but he was such a
minor character.
Barely, yeah, almost like a paper cutout.
Yeah.
Just totally flat, one-dimensional.
Right.
Like, who the hell is this guy, and why would he care? And
yeah, and even though they tell you,
it doesn't really fit.
Yeah, it doesn't. He doesn't become this, you know, the big bear of a man, and taking Jamie back to his place and doing the first healing part on him. I mean, that's why the search pissed me off so much.
Yeah, there was a lot more stuff.
Because I'm thinking we wasted 20 freaking minutes with this freaking song that made me insane, and then running back and forth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And so this is what we end up with, the whole McCranach story.
Yeah, I really cut that down.
And the fact that they decided not to take them to France. They kept them in Scotland to begin with.
Right.
And
we never get Jamie's uncle. I mean, I don't think they ever...
Alexander. We never hear about Alexander.
Yeah, so they never specified if any of those monks were Alexander.
Well, they never even talk about him having an uncle who was the abbot at a monastery and has he was the connection to King James.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
I mean, he was the one who actually ended up, he had found Jamie a place within King James's court to be a translator.
Right.
Until they decided to go a different direction. But he was the liaison as far as knowing when they got to France that there were correspondence happening between the court of King James in exile and the Pope and the
monasteries, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and being in papal dispatches, those things were going to be, could get anything you could get through in those papal dispatches.
Right. Nobody would question.
So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching The Search and knowing we only have 2 more episodes.
There was a lot more story.
I'm just like, oh my God, what are they doing?
Yeah.
So anyway, but we'll get off that because they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They didn't do it, and now we have to get through the whole little. Somehow Murtaugh has the brilliant idea, isn't he the one that says, I know how to rescue Jamie when he finds out the kine they're missing and
the cow.
Who's the hairy coon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get the end of that, and we open up onto Ransom a Man's Soul.
Yeah.
And do we open up with Claire waiting on the road, or do we open up with we open up with the Jamie and the drum and the bugle, and Jamie laying there with that dead look in his eyes.
Right, laying on his stomach.
Yeah. And then Blackjack rising from behind him like a specter.
Yeah.
And one more look at his merkin.
Yeah, because we haven't seen enough of Blackjack this season.
Yeah.
If I never see Tobias Menzies' dick again.
I feel.
I'm trying to believe you'll have the
opportunity. He's a brilliant actor and everything, but no.
I have seen enough of him.
Yeah. Naked. Yeah. No more.
Well, knowing what's coming in the next thing, I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, maybe they had to show us because of what's coming up.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Maybe.
So yeah, we get that whole rising like a specter, and that whole little interaction between the two of them. Jamie saying, "You owe me a debt," and knowing now, just with those few words, knowing that Jamie wants to die.
Right. Then Blackjack grabs that knife.
Yeah.
He's all ready to do it.
and then he gets distracted.
Yeah, he gets sidetracked.
He gets distracted. He gets sidetracked, and then there's the cows.
The cows.
The cows.
They bust down the door. Yeah.
That nobody stopped before they got to that area of the prison.
Yeah. So that's all I can figure out is that they're supposed to have come in through that open back door.
Right.
Yeah.
And because that's down lower and there's no other prisoners kept down there, that Blackjack has made this special little nest, special little love nest down there.
Right.
Because in the book, that's the way it was. Nobody else was down there. He had made this special little place for the two of them.
Right.
Yeah. He could have cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little disgusting, but he's a guy.
Disgusting, yeah, but yeah.
He is a guy, so
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. More worth than flowers.
So yeah, we see the door being knocked down, and 20 head of cattle run over Blackjack.
Right. He's trapped under the door. There's blood. Murtaugh sees him laying there, and Murtaugh is coming through. Yep. He's Blackjack laying there.
Yeah, but I do tell you, that whole striding through, those three men striding through those corridors, there was a real dignity when I was watching it about Murtaugh, and a dignity and a purpose. I thought just in the way he was carrying himself.
Yeah.
And then finding Jamie and kind of realizing, taking that glance and realizing.
Wrapping him up and carrying him out, yeah.
Yeah.
How did little Murtaugh pick up that big strapping Scotsman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's, like I said, there was a whole.
It's like, whoa.
He had this look on his face as he's carrying him out of there. Of this determination and just, I don't know, there was just this grit to that character walking out of there with him. So, and having found out, knowing where he was coming from as far as he had pledged himself to Jamie and taking care of Jamie because of Ellen, and, for me it was just kind of one of those things where I was thinking to myself, he's definitely, yes, he's rescuing him, but I'm sure he's got some guilt about what he's let the son of this woman let happen to him. Been unable to stop from happening to him.
Right.
So.
Right, she was hoe.
Yeah, I don't know what she had going on.
Yeah,
but
she had a lot going on, excuse me.
Yeah.
A lot going on. Yeah.
Well,
this one throwing pearls at her, this one throwing at her wedding, too, okay, honey, I'm going to give you this over here, Like, okay, I got married and I had some man giving me jewelry at my wedding, my husband would kick his ass. Like, what are you giving my wife jewelry for? This is my wedding. I'm getting married to her. You don't give her jewelry. You give her a new cast iron pot or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure that did they
like that.
didn't they say that she never said who they came from?
Yeah,
She never said who the tusk bracelets came from. I'm not sure she ever said who. And that's another thing. Back when McCranach recognized the pearls,
yeah.
I just rolled my eyes so hard because I'm like, oh my God, they're a set of 1950s pearls. There's nothing special about these pearls.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly the clasp is special, but I'm just kind of like, oh, it's just it's a set of your grandmother's pearls. So anyway,
Are they round pearls? I didn't even notice.
Yes, they're round pearls.
Yeah, they're round
They're
pearls.
not the freshwater Scottish pearls.
Pearls, okay.
No.
And I mean, that necklace was described as having little gold rondelles in between the pearls.
Right.
So that's, it was made it a very
And this looked like,
This looked
like the
this
glass
looked
ones
like,
that you buy at the Macy's. Yeah.
well, yeah, these looked like what, Jackie Kennedy would have worn in 1960.
Yeah.
So anyway,
pearls too. The light of them, they remind me of flapper. I mean, it's just that it's kind of weird because as good as Terry is about all this stuff, that she let a set of pearls like that go on.
Yeah, I think there was in one of her blogs she talked about it and said there was some discussion, but because she had an issue with it to begin with, because she knew why they wanted the long ones, because they wanted that look of, they wanted it draped down between Claire's naked breasts during the wedding scene and blah, blah, blah. But she said, once we found these pearls, I was okay with it. And I'm like, I don't know why. But,
I don't either.
Whatever, that's a small quibble. Except that it does kind of affect some things on down the line, so they're obviously going to have to change some things in the upcoming seasons because those particular pearls were supposed to be recognizable and blah, 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 blah. So, well, I will stop bitching about the pearls. So anyway, they carry him out, and this is where we see Claire. This is where we see Claire standing in the road, still in her pants, in that whole, juggler's outfit, waiting, looking down the road, waiting for them to come.
Right.
With the carriage.
With the wagon and all of that, and they bring him, and the whole seeing him for the first time and trying to figure out what the hell he had done to him, and Jamie's first reaction to her being to try and kill her. Basically, that's what it was, Went after her with his good hand. Yeah. Went after her with his good hand, and basically him speaking Gaelic the whole time, being that out of it to where he's in speaking Gaelic and not even though Murtaugh's saying, "What are you doing?" It's Claire, and so, and then the whole comment about the fact that he reeked and the oil of lavender, and thinking somebody tried to tend him, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. No, and how did he not get gangrene in that hand? I'm thinking just a nail out of a board on the floor. Well,
how he didn't end up with tetanus is my issue.
Yep.
Because gangrene, I mean, Claire did a lot of soaking and the alcohol and all that, trying to clean it out. But I'm not sure how he didn't end up with tetanus.
And some kind of I'm sorry, there was enough time in there. I mean, he was in that nasty, skanky room with that hand with those open wounds and everything on there. How did he not get some kind of major infection in there?
Well, if you think about it, again, because of the search, they had to cut down all of that because he did end up with an infection in the book.
He was sick. He was very sick. Yeah.
He was that's how he almost died. He physically almost died from the wounds, because there's a whole section about Claire doing nothing but soaking that hand again and again in some kind of a water concoction to try and draw out whatever kind of toxins that were in there. They spent an entire 24 hours continually soaking that hand and working on his back because Blackjack beat the shit out of him.
Right, again.
So that his back was once again slashed to ribbons.
Yeah.
So again, because of the freaking search, we didn't get any of that. we got the fact, he's supposed to be this,
mentally.
We're supposed to think that he is going to die because of the damage to him mentally.
Right, and they kind of go that route by having Willie say that that's how
his uncle died. Yeah.
That he just let himself die. And
so because that's how. I mean, Claire they spent a week or more trying to save him. Her and Father Ambrose. Father Ambrose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ambrose. Yeah.
Or was it our Bartholomew? No, it was Bartholomew. Yeah. Ambrose is the one that she spent. Wasn't Ambrose the one that she spent going back and forth and doing the whole whatever they call that, sitting with the host?
Anselm. I think that was the guy.
Anselm. Yeah, that's Anselm.
Anselm. That's Anselm. Yeah.
Anselm, Father Anselm.
Yeah, which don't get me started on him. I was so disappointed in that whole interaction and scene.
Right.
So.
Part of it and the how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that whole thing for Claire, because that was a big, huge part of Claire and her kind of voyage of self-discovery and what she actually believes in her spirituality, the development of her spirituality.
Right, was that whole situation.
Was that whole relationship between her and brother or Father Anselm? I can't remember, father or brother. Yeah, it's Father Anselm, because he's from a different sect or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Because there were Benedictines and I can't remember the other one. I'm not Catholic, so.
Yeah, he was there more as a scholar.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, he was there doing scholarly research. He was there for their library.
Right. That's why I went back and reread the book after I watched it, because I know that they just lost so much of
the whole ending of the book. Yeah, just totally.
I went back and read those last chapters again, just because it frustrated me. That's why I said because it was beautifully done. The acting is awesome. They moved their story forward, but ultimately, it's hard to read, but the book is so much more.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much deeper, and there's so much more between the two of them. Although the whole, how she, brings him back from the edge, that whole thing is just kind of weird in the book.
It's
that whole coating herself in the oil and bringing up the ghost of her husband and Blackjack. I'm just kind of like,
she tried to push Jamie to fight back for himself or fight for himself.
Part of that, I was just kind of like, so I missed something. I'm not deep enough or smart enough to have understood some of this.
And that's something that would have been almost impossible to put into the show, and yet it really is a big deal. I mean, I think it is. And I hardly understand it myself, but I think that it's much more it serves the story and their bond, the bond between Jamie and Claire. And I think that there was no way they were ever going to do it in the show, so.
Yeah. Not when they wasted so much time on other things.
Oh,
there you go.
Anyway, so much of it is Claire's internal thoughts that there's no way they would have got it through on the show anyway.
No, but I just mean the whole, having abbreviated that whole stay at Abbey. And
I agree.
That whole thing, just because they just absolutely cut the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And gave us, 2, 3, maybe 4 days.
Right. It doesn't seem like they're there for very long.
No, and they're working really hard to get them out of Scotland because they kept them in Scotland.
Yeah. So they're off looking for a boat so they can get him out of Scotland and.
Yeah. Right. So anyway,
even the thing about the fever. Even the thing about the fever with him, she says, I need the cold. It shows nothing about her. She asked for the coldest water they can get and everything, and then all of a sudden it's disappeared.
Yeah, it's like the cold water bath.
We mentioned it. Yeah.
Broke his fever, broke the temps. Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, like I said, they cut this part so much because. And this would be the one point where I would kind of agree with some people who complained about getting so much of the torture in the cell.
Right.
I mean, we got so much and so much detail and so much flashback that...
But they didn't counter it. They didn't counter it with the healing part of it. They really didn't. For all that they showed, which was probably what it was supposed to be, was what it was in the book, they didn't counter it with the healing side of it. In my thoughts, and that's where they lost a lot of their bonding, their healing of Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, because they didn't make him is in danger physically of dying, as far as from the wounds.
Right.
So that we had to get through that because we had to get through that part and get him over that hump.
Yeah.
So that he was healing from that to have that whole the mental issues that he had going on be the next thing to where he just wasn't that he wanted to die. He was willing himself to die.
Right.
His body was healing in spite of himself.
I hope they say they're going to carry some of that through for this season, so they better do it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll
There's a lot
see.
of PTSD that he didn't have to go through in this series. So.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, we got a lot of torture, a lot of the
him recalling everything that happened.
Yeah, and the rape scene was extremely graphic, and the first time, for it to be probably one of the very first times for it to have been done on television. They did it, and they did an amazing job. I mean, I don't usually have a hard time watching that stuff, and I had a hard time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was sitting there with my hands clenched and my jaw clenched when I'm watching it. Right. The first couple of times I watched it, so
right.
It was extremely well done, but the fact that they cut back to that 3 times,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just am kind of wondering if they couldn't have given us more at the Abbey, more of Jamie's healing process at the Abbey and a little less in the dark hole.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This was going to be such a hard, impossible section of this book to bring onto the screen.
Yeah.
And get it right.
They did a good job.
They did a good job. Yeah. For what they had to do, for doing this part of the book, for doing the last. Oh my God! How many chapters?
How many hundreds pages? Yeah. How many hundreds pages? Yeah.
They did, and they did it in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the Scott and the Sassenach were talking about when I was listening to their commentary. They said, this book, when read by Davina Porter, is 43 to 44 hours of reading out loud. And they've taken that and done 16 hours of television.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
A lot of what they chose to do was really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And there are just a few little missteps here and there as far as the story, as far as I'm concerned. I was, like I said, I had issues with not feeling like the relationship paid off. Like we had earned Claire's devotion to Jamie with what we saw before her decision in The Devil's Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I had some issues with it feeling like it happened off screen and too fast. But anyway, the end of this. Let's get to the end of this Ransom and Soul because we keep jumping back. So then we get, Jamie's the reason for him wanting to die is when he's telling Claire, when she finally is in there beating the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. She's literally beating the shit out of him. And it's basically his guilt. It's him with such a deep-seated self-loathing and self-hatred and guilt for feeling like he had having responded and given in to Blackjack there at the end, even though his head was totally messed up. And again, this was part of my timeline issue, the fact they compressed this timeline so much, and didn't do the physical beatings that he had taken in the book, because it just means that mentally he was broken so quickly, because we're really only talking a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was starved, because he had fed him before this whole thing started.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I had problems with the timeline and him having broken down mentally so quickly over such a short period of time. Yeah. Because knowing Jamie, knowing that with it being mostly mental, I mean, having the hand, of course the hand is incredible pain all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But because of what the abuse that he had taken in the book, I could see him breaking down mentally much quicker because he was so weakened physically. I had more problem with the series, the fact that he, it's the hand issue, but so much more of it was just the mental stuff that was going on. And I was kind of like, I missed the fact that I missed it. I felt like it would have played better for me if there had been even more abuse. How sick am I?
Oh, Lord.
Like he needed that beating. He needed that beating.
He needed it. Beat him, stupid.
So I mean that was kind of one of my issues. I was just kind of like, oh.
Well, it's an adaptation.
I know. I kind of felt like
screen, and there are so many out there that I just hate. Pretty much anything that Stephen King's work, I hate.
Oh yeah.
Even when Stephen King's been involved in it, I mean, they just took and butt fucked 1123 or 11 whatever.
Oh, was it bad?
It's an excellent book, and they changed it around in the first episode, and it's like, I just can't even bother. I hated The Shining with Nicholson. I thought that was a horrible movie.
King even.
They did what was it? The Stand they did for television.
Yeah.
It was really good. I enjoyed that one.
The first one?
Yeah, the really good one. Yeah, the really good one.
That's an old one.
I mean, I am upset that they're redoing that, and that Matthew McConaughey is going to play Randall Flagg. I mean, that bugs the crap out of me, because Matthew McConaughey is going to be his all right kind of guy, like he is in every fucking movie he does. So
or he's going to be the whacked out detective from True Detective. That very kind of drawn in. So I don't know.
Under the Dome, they screwed up.
Oh,
anytime, 99% of the time, 99% of the time I see an adaptation, I hate it. I hate it. And I mean, now Gone Girl was done really well. But most of the time, like I said, I'm very disappointed, especially on a small screen.
Every single John Grisham book.
But they did. I think they did an excellent.
Yeah, and I guess I'm with you too, because every time I was big into John Grisham.
Yeah.
And every time they did a John Grisham book into a movie, the only one I actually loved was A Time to Kill. The one with Matthew McConaughey.
That was done really well.
Yeah, it was done.
Yeah.
I thought that one was done extremely well. The others, I hated the way they changed the firm. The Pelican Brief kind of bored me to tears, even though they stuck more to the book. It kind of bored me. I was just kind of like, oh, what a waste of actors.
Well, honestly, too, when it gets down to Da Vinci Code, I was kind of... As much as I love Tom Hanks. It was lacking. It was lacking for me. All of that series there, and they're doing the other one.
Yeah, I was disappointed in Da Vinci Code, and I think are they doing Angels and Demons? But you keep breaking up, Jerry. So sometimes we lose what you say.
Yeah, they are. They're doing Angels and Demons. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Like I was saying too, Shawshank Redemption was done really well.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my favorite movies.
The short stories seem to do better on screen.
Green Mile was good too. Yeah. The short stories, but when they try to get into the meaty ones, I think the only one that really, really, really I thought was well done as far as movie, the first was Carrie. I loved Carrie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Carrie was excellent. I've got to move to where I can plug my phone in because it's dying. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, all my complaints are little. Well, I'm bitching about The Search, but Again, that's because I'm watching. That's because I'm sitting there watching the episode, knowing how much story happens after it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
in that context, that was a waste of an episode. I personally, by itself, I liked the episode, but they lost a lot at the end.
Yeah, there was some beautiful stuff in that episode. I mean, there was beautiful stuff between Claire and Jenny. There was beautiful stuff between Claire and Murtaugh. There was some interesting stuff between Claire and what's-his-face, Dougal.
Dougal, right.
But yeah, there was a whole 10, 15 minutes in the middle with the singing and the gypsies and all of that was just, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, if they had more time, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But yeah, they really shortchanged their final 2 episodes to do the search, along with a couple other things. I mean, the witch trial did not need to go on for eons either. So
yeah, except I love that episode. I love the Devil's Mark.
Yeah, it's a good episode. That's what I mean. If they'd had maybe 18 episodes to stretch the story out, and 2 more episodes, then they could have really done some good stuff. Yeah. And the same with the Garrison Commander, an entirely
brand new, all new material. Yeah,
great. It was awesome, and it really laid the groundwork by itself. But again, there's so much more story and more stuff they could have done near the end for character development.
And again, when we got into both sides now, all of the Frank stuff they added.
Yeah.
You know, because half of that episode was Frank stuff that was all new material. Right. But again, I guess when you're looking at it, it's like, okay, we know we're going to have a mid-season break. Where do we break?
Right. Yeah. No, I think the stuff they added by itself, or what they did by itself, wasn't bad, but how it
served the story and the narrative. Yeah, I had some issues with some of the.
Yeah. And
I felt like because I was watching, I felt like the search stopped us in our tracks. You know, it felt like we hit a wall and we're just kind of mired down.
Right.
In story that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that had no payoff, really.
If they had taken out part of that thing, nothing would have changed.
Right.
It felt like filler where they didn't need filler.
Yeah, because again, if you had taken out all of that riding back and forth with the gypsies, seeing the gypsies, if you had lifted that out and just gone from them starting to look for Jamie by doing the whole, the dance and the fortune telling,
right,
to Dougal, them getting a message and them meeting with Dougal,
right,
you don't miss anything. That whole section in there, if you've lifted that whole section out, it's not like you've lost a big chunk of story.
No.
There's no narrative there.
Yeah. There's nothing there that's gonna happen later. Nothing where you're gonna see it later and it's gonna be, oh wow, we even know that as book readers. There's nothing in that was ever gonna
relate to anything after.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're never going to look back and go, oh, remember when they met the gypsies here and he said that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, who knows? You don't know what they're going to do. They might show the gypsies.
No, the important things in that were Jenny getting out there, Murtaugh coming in, her learning from Murtaugh that he had been in love with Ellen Mackenzie and that he had pledged himself to take care of Jamie.
That didn't even happen that time anyway, so. In the book, that didn't even happen there. So.
Well.
So, but I mean, yeah.
And then and we didn't even learn from Dougal here that this is when, because in the book, Dougal is the one who told Claire.
They had to put it somewhere.
1968. So it wasn't even from Dougal. It wasn't a message from Gillis there. Yeah, but it's the only place we ever got that Lollybrock was important to Dougal.
Dougal saw the need to have Lollybrock. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the only place we got that. Because it's not in any part of the rest of the TV show.
Stories, yeah. No conversations.
No conversations about the fact that Lollybrock was strategically positioned at the opening of a pass or valley or something.
Yeah, something that Jamie tells her that.
Yeah, there's that thing.
Yeah. So the only place we ever get. So we needed that time between Jenny and Claire at the beginning because that was kind of the cementing of their bond.
Right. And you needed
their sister bond. And you needed that section where, Claire tells her to plant potatoes.
Right.
And hearing from Jenny that Jamie had the foresight to tell her if Claire tells you to do something, do it, because there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And then the whole meeting with Murtaugh, or the whole meeting with Dougal at the end, that's kind of what we needed from that episode.
Mm-hmm.
To move us forward, to have any kind of, really important stuff. So, but anyway, the end of Transform Man Soul, they have the big confab. He confesses his guilt, and she, basically guilts him into, living for her, because I really felt like she guilted him into living for her. If you want to die, just kill me now, because the only reason I stayed was because of you. I gave up hot baths and Frank for you.
Yeah.
True.
So.
And toilet.
Yeah, indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing.
So yeah, and then we
transportation that wasn't four-legged.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a corset and a stomacher for you.
So and then we get the fact that they've chosen to go on to, they've chosen now to go on to France and be with the Fraser cousin, who's a merchant who, what did Rupert said? Yeah. Couldn't fight. It was something I just heard it recently. Almost to the effect of couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. But he said something, couldn't fight something that I just kind of made me laugh. I love Rupert. I absolutely adore Rupert. I am dreading certain scenes in the upcoming season.
Yeah.
And so that we get them on that boat, which, again, we don't, we get the little nod to the fact that Jamie is seasick, but again.
He's sitting in the little boat, waiting, they're all huddled up.
Yeah.
The tricorn.
But yeah, they're on that boat that's already pitching and rolling, and he's, as I'm saying to myself, he would have been below deck already yakking his brains out.
Yeah.
Just because of the pitch and roll while they're trying to get to, get underway.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, we get some of those scenes, and again, I just kind of, I missed some of this. Some of this didn't emotionally connect with me. Right. And I didn't feel the emotion in this scene like I felt like I should have.
Yeah.
So I felt like I missed something.
But did you kind of see when she finally reveals she's pregnant?
I didn't feel emotion when
he tells her he's happy. Huh? Go ahead.
He doesn't look happy. He doesn't look happy.
No, he doesn't look happy. That's what I mean. They cut to him and he hugs her, but the minute she doesn't see his face, his smile goes away. So clearly, they really did imply that he's not healed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and they shouldn't have. If they had, I'd have had huge issues.
No, it was good. I thought that was very good, that it's clear that he's not all there yet,
Although he does say, before she even tells him, he says he's trying, I think, doesn't he?
Right. Yeah.
There's some kind of reference to the fact that he's trying to work through it and get back and.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole, and again, it's those little subtle things that Sam the actor does in the characterization of Jamie that so many people miss.
Right.
The people who are watching it, they miss the fact, there were expressions on his face during the Devil's Mark when he was watching Claire washing her hands when he came up upon her just before he led her up to Craig Nadoon.
Right.
There were just these micro flashes of emotion that went from this joy of seeing her to, realizing that he's about to give her up, in the space of like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just that the face, his face just reflected that whole thing to me. And again, because I knew what was happening.
Right, but still, he's very good at. He is very good in those conversation things. Yeah.
He has. I feel like he has studied the books so well, and pulled out so much and put so much of book Jamie into his Jamie.
Right. That's good.
So, yeah, because that whole telling her to try and reassure her to be the man for her by saying, yes, I'm happy. but
Right.
but actually showing that he does have trepidation and doubt, and
Mhm.
is he really happy? Because now not only is he responsible for her and trying to get himself back, but now there's this new life they're going to have to bring in that he's responsible for.
Right, and now he's headed to France
And
with
knowing what's coming, yeah, and knowing the fact that Culloden is coming.
right, according to her, yeah. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
Mm. Interesting.
that's the whole thing. And I tell you, I loved watching this the first time. My favorite thing in this whole final episode is the ending theme, the music at the end,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
with that tall ship, riding the waves, and the way that the music was surging and crashing, and I was just sitting in my house going, "Oh my God, oh my God." So, I mean, I was just bowing down to Bear McCreary at that point. It was like it's what I remember feeling when I watched Pirates for the first time, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
There were
yeah.
certain scenes where the music just absolutely, I felt like that the music was carrying me on that ship. And that's the way I felt watching this at
Oh,
the end.
yeah.
Just the music, I was feeling
Yeah.
the music, and
Uh,
so anyway.
and then the song, I always thought that was good too, that they bookended it with the song, the opening song, but without all the other stuff. It was just the woman's voice, the singer's voice. I thought that
Yeah.
was really,
Yeah.
it's very pretty.
Yeah, having done a new arrangement of that.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job.
So
So,
yeah, I loved that whole wrap up there at the end, and the helicopter shots pulling away, showing that ship, and I mean, just again, you marvel at the gorgeous vista and look, and the whole look of the thing.
yeah, yeah,
So
they did good.
so
Yay.
we made it
Yep, they
through,
did.
and we survived. I was just talking before we went on camera about how
We
I felt
did.
like about the people who couldn't bear to rewatch or discuss, and I'm kind of like, it
Yeah,
is fiction, and it does happen, and
yeah,
it's important to the
Yeah,
story,
that's silly.
And I was kind of like, I mean, it's kind of, there,
Yeah,
people are
it's
going to be pissed
there.
at me, but I was kind of like, put your big girl panties on
yeah,
and get with the program. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
so because this particular section of this book and the show, I mean, it informs and forms Jamie's character and the relationship between Claire and Jamie from here on out.
right, right,
Yep.
yeah,
And if you can't understand or deal with this section, how do you
yeah,
understand and comprehend and feel the rest of the story? I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of the way I am. It's like it's you have to be able to deal with this to be able to understand, to truly be able to understand certain aspects of Jamie's character going forward.
yeah, yeah. This is the groundwork of the whole story, their whole relationship and their story. This is the groundwork of it.
Exactly, because basically their relationship has burned to the ground.
Right,
This
right,
event just kind of imploded their relationship as they had known it up to this point.
right. Everything
And
that they knew is
from
gone.
here on out, it is a rebuilding and
Yeah.
reconnecting of the two of them and coming out stronger
Right,
once you get through it and get past it.
right.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
anyway, but I mean, we're finishing up the first season, and they just are having the season premiere or the New York premiere in New York tonight, and we saw the red carpet, and
wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
anyway,
So
And
what?
he
So
looked. I couldn't make out her dress too much. I didn't see her. I didn't see too much of her, so I saw her in the background. She had a white dress on.
that's
oh,
white and
Embroidery
black,
on
wasn't it?
Is that what she had on?
They all look color
White and black?
coordinated because Meryl was in white and was in black and white,
Yeah.
and Kat was in white with black, and
Right.
Mel looked gorgeous, of course.
yeah. Wow. So that's
Of course.
tonight. Now, what did someone have posted that I'm not even sure where I saw it? That you can see the new episode tomorrow or something?
That's when I was looking at my Stars subscription through Amazon Prime. it was saying that you could watch the Outlander season premiere on April 7th.
Okay.
Which was Thursday instead of Saturday.
Right. Then I saw something for tomorrow.
Oh, I haven't seen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anywhere. But then I saw people who said, well, that's where did that banner go? Because that banner's no longer on Amazon. And I haven't been back to Amazon since I posted that on the Facebook group. So, and Corey said she went and said it's gone. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Like, well, damn, maybe they took it down.
Yeah, I don't see how Starz would let Amazon run that before they previewed it on their
through
network.
their app. Through that app.
Yeah.
It's through the Starz app. You have to have the Starz app through Amazon.
Yeah.
So, because it may have been a way to try and get more people to subscribe to Starz.
Right.
Yeah.
Through Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And it would have been in conglomeration with Amazon because it also would have pushed Prime because you have to have Prime to be able to get that subscription.
And then all the cable carriers and the satellite carriers and everything would be super pissed off that that happened too.
Well, except last season, didn't they? They showed the first season was available online for the week before that first episode.
The first episode was on Starz website the week before.
And it was free for everybody.
And for everybody, because they wanted to hook you in. Now, and that's why they ran the whole first season for free, I'm sure, because you could watch it all this, for the last couple of weeks, it's been free on Starz.
I think you can watch it up till the 10th, can't you? Can't you watch it up until where you can watch the whole first season and see the first episode of the second season?
And I think that Starz is combining all this with the promo that now their app is going to be not just Starz, but Encore and... Yeah. And then you said that they're going the HBO route where they're actually going to sell their app outside of Amazon. So anyone.
I was shocked because there was a specific Wall Street Journal story last year where Chris Albrecht, who's the executive CEO of Starz, had said that that was not the route that they were going to go.
Right. Well,
they were looking at, working through the distributors and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, this year, about that same time as it was last year, suddenly it's like they realized.
I'll bet you once HBO proved that it could be done and be profitable, because, I don't have
HBO and Showtime, they both have standalone apps.
Yeah, and I think that Starz kind of saw, hey, maybe we can. And Starz has got a lot of good stuff that people would pay for. So.
Well, and the fact that they're also moving all of they're showing all of their original programming is now going to also be shown on Encore.
Yeah, right.
The back episodes are now going to be shown on Encore. So because Encore is the cheapest one of those, if you just are trying to buy one of them, I think Encore is the cheapest one.
Ah, okay. But I thought they were combining them together. So if you buy the app, you get both Starz and Encore.
Well, when you do through your cable provider, you get them both.
Right. But I thought that was what the app was going to be also, but maybe not. I don't care.
Know. I was going to say I didn't read it. I haven't decided which way I'm going to go until the app is available.
Yeah. It's got to be this week. Well, it doesn't have to be, but I would assume it would be this week because this is like their flagship thing. They're past Black Sails.
Yeah, Black Sails has ended, and now we've got Encore, we've got Outlander, and the Girlfriend Experience. Those are the two things they're pushing right now.
Right.
They both premiere this coming weekend.
Yeah, I'm guessing I still have my DirecTV. A lot of times, when new stuff's coming up, the stuff
gets a free weekend.
So I'll probably get that. I'm guessing I will. I'm just guessing I will because I'm still finishing out my season of other stuff before I actually call DirecTV and say, where do I send your stuff?
Yeah.
Where do I send your equipment? Your overpriced equipment. Done with you. So yeah, I may not get that Starz app until next week because you get that 7 days free anyway. So.
Well, I was going to say if you go through Amazon Prime, if you have Prime, you do get the first 7 days free.
Yeah, that's why I do have Prime, and that's what I was going to do was kind of push it out just to try to get it as cheap as possible. Yeah. As bad as that is, it's only $9 or $10 or something.
$8.99, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not even worth really.
So that's Jerry. That's what I'm doing for Shameless. I just started that.
I DVR before.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying that's what I'm doing for Shameless. I just did the Showtime through Prime, and I'll go back and watch Shameless.
App.
Yeah, through the Amazon app.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We just
I got to clear my DVR
about it the other day, and we've got so much stuff we've got to clear DVR. So we got 2 of them, and they're both loaded. So
Yeah.
we'd have to go through and watch everything off of that before we do this. But we have been with DirecTV since it started, since its inception. We had TiVo first.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, because Tommy sold them. And so.
Yeah, I've had it since
It comes out and like, oh my God, with us for 21 years.
Yeah. Well,
I was going to say, let's stop the broadcast because we've been going for an hour plus. So we finished up season 1. We're all looking forward to season 2, which premieres on Saturday, the 9th. I would imagine, I keep wondering if they're not going to do the same thing that they did second half of last season, where we're going to be able to get it through Stars Play and on demand on Friday.
Yeah, midnight Friday.
Yeah. So we'll see. And we'll see. I mean, I'll look at it a little closer because I work all weekend. So, and I'm actually going to be working all weekend from here on out for the next year. So, I'm going to have to see it. Coming home and
hours.
Yeah, when I get home in the morning, so I'll DVR it. I've got it set to DVR.
Don't watch it. She says I'm gonna have also. It's like no, wait. You can watch on break at work.
There you go. Yeah, 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if it actually shows, I'm wondering if they're going to stream the new episodes immediately on Amazon at the same time. Because if they do, I can stream Amazon at work.
Yeah, I would hope that they do. That's the point of the app.
So, well, I'm going to stop this because I was going to say some things that if anybody from work watched, I could get in trouble for. So, so anyway, I'm hoping we have more people who want to join us for the discussion of the new season. I'm hoping to maybe just do a little half hour, like from 8:30 to 9 o'clock, which would be from 9:30 to 10 o'clock Eastern time, just for half an hour for the new, 1 hour episode each week. But still on Mondays because I can actually do it anytime Monday through Thursday.
Well, we can.
Yeah, we can talk about it, but we'll start out on Mondays and see how people do. But anyway, so I'm going to stop the broadcast and we can still gab after that. But anyway, here we go.